Well, Jim, as I said, you've drawn quite a crowd this morning, so we are excited to hear about, as folks have said, what's going on in Parks and Rec. Obviously, last year was a very strange year, so I think folks are looking forward to getting out, getting together, and knowing what we can and can't and should be doing in regard to getting together. So I've known Jim for a number of years, has just been a mainstay with the city, and has even taken more on his plate, which we're happy about. I don't know whether he's happy about, but Jim, I'll turn things over to you.
Well, thanks, Kevin. Everybody, it's good to see some of your faces again and meet some of the new folks that are on the Zoom meeting today. It's a pleasure to be involved with you, Kevin. Always a pleasure to work with you and visit with you, and thank you for all that you do for the chamber and for the city as well. Kevin and I go back since the Burlington days. We'll leave it at that. And he was instrumental in helping with one of our first things that we did with our track club way back in the 80s. I think, Kevin, maybe it was maybe not the 80s, maybe the 90s.
90, yep.
Anyhow, but I appreciate that. Some of you know that I've been with the city for a while. I was talking to a gentleman last night at our track club meeting or track club practice, and he wanted to know how long I'd been involved with the activities. And I said, well, probably as long as you've been born. So it's hard to believe, but it's been about 40 years that I've been involved with the city as an employee. I've been the director of recreation and now the director of parks and recreation since the 1986. So fortunately or unfortunately, I'm pretty familiar with what's going on with activities in Bellevue. I've had wonderful relationships with the school system, with the chamber and private entities. Thank you so much for some of you that are listening or on the Zoom meeting now that have been a contributor, have been a sponsor. As Kevin mentioned earlier, we couldn't do it without you. And particularly now with Beardmore here, and been a long time sponsoring as well, just recently with Keeney State Farm. Thank you for those partnerships. It's great to have you aboard, and it's great to be working with you. Now, I'd like to spend a little bit of time just kind of going over some of the fun things that's happening in Bellevue. The splash pads are going to be phenomenal. Particularly the one that's just getting built. I was talking to the contractor probably a month ago, and he said this will probably be one of the largest splash pads in the metro area. And I'm referring to the Looking Glass splash pad. We're talking sometime if you live in the neighborhood and if you want to go for a nice walk, there's a nice walking trail around Looking Glass, and you can connect to the trail there to Two Springs as well if you want to go for a long walk and go through Stonecraft. But it's only 5,800 square feet of splash pad. And I'm saying that, I don't mean that only. Ralph would probably tell you better than I what 5,800 square feet means. It's pretty significant. There'll be a lot of splash features there. Something we don't have in our other two parks of splash pads, Banner and Everett, is that we'll have a built-in picnic area, shade area, a nice restroom facilities for all to enjoy. So it'll be something that you'll all enjoy going to. We're looking at opening that up, weather permitting, sometime in first part of June. So when that happens, we'll make that announcement, but weather permitting, it'll be the first part of June. And the splash features, the spray features are just phenomenal. As Kevin and I and some of the city administrators can brag about, this will be something that'll bring the people to Bellevue. Yeah. It's pretty cool. And it'll be a lot of fun, and people will enjoy that area immensely. But with that being said, Everett and Banner splash pads will be opening as well around the first part of June. So they can, the people in those areas, if you want to just stay closer to home or the neighborhood, there are walking trails there. There's plenty of opportunities for the children to play in the playgrounds there. The one thing Looking Glass won't have yet that the other two parks with the splash pads are, we don't have playground equipment installed there. Now, we all assume that that'll happen down the road, but it won't be in the next year or so. We're spending plenty of money on other features, other activities, so we'll put that a priority a little later down in the next couple of years. But it's still, Everett and Banner have some nice playground equipment that can go along with the splash pad and also picnic areas. So we have found with the splash pads, and if you're driving by them sometime, you notice, especially at Everett, because that's an easier place to drive back and forth from, and on a through street through Betts Road, that they have several birthday parties. We booked the shelter for that, and it's just phenomenal how much on a summer day, how many people come in and enjoy the splash pad and have a picnic or have a birthday party and enjoy the amenities that are there. So with that being said, that's the splash pads. Look forward, put it on your calendar the first part of June. Give us a call to see if it's open, but we're planning on having the Looking Glass splash pad ready to roll for all to enjoy for the summer. And it's sad to say, but it'll be twice the size of if you've been to Banner, or twice the size if you've been to Everett splash pads. That's how big this facility is, which is fun. And we want to thank the city council and the city administrator and the mayor for having the foresight to want to do this project. It adds a lot. It'll provide some nice features in that part of town that we don't have many features there. Now we're getting there. So it'll be a fun place to go. Plus, some of you that are listening are talking about going out and exercising. Plus, they all have something all similar. There's a walking path. There's a walking trail that you can, if you want the children to play in the splash pad, you can still do your walking around the area, get some exercise in and plan a little picnic afterwards, or meet some people there and have a little family gathering or a group gathering. That's what it's made for, and we look forward to you people everybody enjoying it.
Jim, we'll have to talk about maybe doing a formal ribbon cutting for it for the opening.
Yeah, and you're awesome with those ribbon cuttings. So, and
yeah,
you have great planners, so maybe that'd be something to do.
I think we should. We'll talk more about that.
Okay, so now moving to another exciting facility that's going to be done in June is our all-inclusive park playground in Stonecraft Park, located off of 25th Street in Cape Part Road. It's really a feature that we're all quite proud of. Very thankful that the administrative people, starting with the mayor and Mr. Ristow, saying yes to the project, and the finance director, Mr. Severson, and Mr. Clark, and Dean Dunn, who was the acting public works director at the time, said, yes, let's make it happen. This is something that is a first in Sarpy County. The facility that we're building there is one of a kind. When we call it all inclusive, for one reason, it's for all children, no matter what kind of disability or non-disability they have, they can use it and enjoy it. We'll have some hearing impaired equipment. We'll have some equipment for wheelchairs. The fun thing about the way it's designed is that everything is connected. So if a young boy or girl or someone is wheelchair bound, they can get on the ramp system and go all the way around the playground equipment and be involved with it, and pick the piece of equipment that'll work for them or they want to try, and they can do it. Now you take any other child that wants to go, they can run around as much as they want and pick it out. The facility is built that at one time, I hope it never happens, Kevin, but at one time we could have up to 400 people involved with that playground system and still be plenty of room.
Wow.
But with that being said, right now we don't have the parking for 400 people or let's say 200 people yet. But it'll be a nice system that we can play, all the children can play. Also new to that area is that the surface will not be wood chips, will not be sand. It'll be a surface called pour and play. And it'll be a soft surface that you'll all enjoy. And it'll stick out. It'll be attractive. As you notice, if any of you have driven by the place, it's very attractive with the colors. Thankfully, Creative Sites, the playground company that got the bid, helped us with picking the colors out. And it does look very attractive from the least from the street, and appealing for everybody to play on. But the soft surface area covers 100 foot by 80 feet. So it's a pretty, or 110 feet, excuse me, 110 feet by 80 feet. So it's a pretty good size area that you can enjoy that area to play on. I believe there's 40 to 50 different amenities, different activities that you can use that are being built there. So that'll be a fun thing for everybody to enjoy. Along with that, we're putting in a picnic shelter that'll be connected. So if you can envision it, because it's barrier free, everything is going to be barrier free. The child or the families that have some form of a disability that would need a wheelchair, they can go without having to worry about anything to one place to another. If you want, as you come in from the parking lot, there's a trail system that'll be connected right to the playground. You can go into the playground, you can play to your heart's content, and then if your mom and dad or whoever, your family or friends, if you want to go to the shelter and have a picnic or relax or take a break, we'll have a picnic shelter connected to it just to the south of it. So that can be a place that they can join in and relax and have a relaxing time, and then go back out and play again. There'll be several new features that we don't have in any of our playgrounds other than this place. That'll be the attraction to bring people from northeast, west, south, all over the community, and I hope the county, to try and use these facilities because they're new, they're appealing, and they're exciting for everybody to enjoy. And it'll be a crowd pleaser. I'm pretty excited. We're all pretty excited about it.
You know what I'm loving about what you're sharing here, Jim, is obviously the new amenities, the splash pad and the 100% accessible features of the new playground. But having different things in different areas of the city helps promote our own citizens to move to different parts of the city, right? And enjoy our
That's correct
as a whole.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kevin, you're so right. And that's, and it's not by accident that we try to do these things and we locate different facilities at different places for the reason you just said. So they can travel to different sites to try the different pieces of equipment or whatever different park we have. For instance, if you want to just walk, obviously one of our recent new annexed areas is wonderful to do that. It's the favorite of Lakewood. Well, Lakewood Villages loves it. I don't know how much the residents would like everybody to go there and walk, but you talk about a trail system that's beautiful. There it is. And there we have a wonderful park that the SID at the time put in that connects to all of it. So if you wanted to go there for a nice little experience of walking and enjoy a picnic and enjoy a playground, that's there. You wanted to go to Banner Park and play football or soccer and then have a picnic or use a splash pad that's there. So yes, Kevin, thank you for bringing that up, that the different facilities throughout the city are not all the same. And that's the key thing is that, and going on, moving up, one of the things that we're looking at, that I'm looking at for Looking Glass when we talk about a piece of a new playground there is a challenging rope system that the people have, that you can, the different playground companies are now having a building that could use, similar to what Fontenelle Forest has with their rope system, that the program that they have there, but with going back and forth with the tree climbing and things of that nature. Now, we wouldn't be that extensive there because we couldn't afford it, but it still would provide a challenge where they could do the climbing and enjoy that kind of a challenge physically. So that'll be down the road, but that's what we're looking at Stonecraft for the all-inclusive park. In a year or two, if we get our funding set up correctly, from what I understand, American Heroes Park is looking to build an amphitheater and do some more improvements there with our grounds and with a shelter and with some a permanent bathroom system. That would be a nice addition to that facility. And as you and I both know, Kevin, with the different things that are going on there, that'll be a major attraction. A destination park, which we want, and we want to happen. I think, I believe it was the mayor saying that, we need to develop more district parks. Well, that will be our Eastern District Park right there. And what we want, well, in the long term, we want to develop that area to be a showcase, and we are doing that. So that would be the neat thing about there. Unfortunately, the funding with FEMA is a little bit slower than we thought, but that'll happen. But we're in the planning stages of designing the amphitheater. And so for you and the chamber and the different events that we want to host there, once we get that done, Music in the Parks would be a phenomenal place to have that instead of at Washington Park. So we can do that at a facility that would draw huge crowds for that. And then once we work on improving what we call the Great Lawn, it's not so great now, but hopefully in a year or two, it will be a great lawn and overlook the lake and the fountain that Inez Boyd fountain that was dedicated several years ago that we're installing here in a couple of weeks for the summer. That will be a nice attraction to look out into when you look at it. If you're looking on the north side of the park to facing the lake, with the fountain and the different fishing events, it'll be a fun thing to do, and a nice area. Speaking about the fountain and the lake, I'm going to kind of not change notes, but also if you're looking for an event, everybody, and a fun family event that is going to happen in late June, I believe it's the 24th of June, we're partnering with the Game and Parks Commission to have a family fishing event, a free family fishing event at the lake at Heroes Park. And that means that all you have to do is show up and they will furnish the rod and reels and the bait. And you can fish the night away I shouldn't say night away, fish for a couple hours and learn how to fish appropriately if you want to, and enjoy the amenities that are there. And that's thanks to the Game and Parks Commission and a few other volunteers that are members of the Bass Club of Bellevue and some other groups that are donating their time so we can teach young people how to fish and older people, and also have fun around the lake. And as we know through the pandemic, a lot of people are getting out, and last year there were a lot of people fishing at Heroes Park, and it's just going to get fun. But if you want to mark that on your calendar, it's the 24th of June in the evening from 6 to 8.
Jim, can I interject with
Yes.
question here. Will eventually, will you be putting any trees around or near the lake? Because I know one of the things I've noticed being said is that there's absolutely
No shade.
no shade. Yeah, if you're fishing in in the daytime.
And yes, Mr. Preister and myself and Mr. Clark have discussed this. But before we want to put trees around the trail, but we want to wait till some of the major construction is going to be done before we put those trees in, just because of keeping the trees alive. They'll be out of the way. They won't be a hindrance for our construction area. So, but yes, I think there's a phenomenal number of trees that we want to plant, and thanks to the tree board and their group, they've been able to find some grants to put the trees, to get the trees, and we'll just have to unfortunately find the time to plant them is not an easy thing to do, but yes.
I saw a big tree planting event effort at Stonecraft last weekend. Was that a Green Bellevue partnership or?
Yeah, yes, it was. And it's a nice partnership. The city of Bellevue involves, is with Green Bellevue, and the tree board led by Joe Langaby and Don Preister, is that the city, the Parks Department drills the holes, gets all the equipment there that they need to plant the trees, and then they bring in volunteers to plant the trees. So it's a nice little setup that we do some of it, they do some of it, and the project gets done.
Good.
And we're going to do it. We've been doing that since I've been the Park and Recreation Deputy Director for the last 2 years now. That's how I think it's been going that way for several years, but we continue to do that, and we get to see the nice tree plantings going on. So it works. As you know, no one entity can do it together by themselves.
Yeah, love the partnerships.
You have to have the partnerships, and so we have them, and that makes it nice. While we're still talking a little bit about Heroes Park and partnerships, last Friday we had a fun little event there with some volunteers from the intelligence squadron at Offutt, and they were there to help us with cleaning the park. And when you talk about a park that size and a parks department of a staff of 11 people, and we have 750 acres to maintain to begin with, 11 people can't handle all 750 acres. So it takes everybody. And there was 30 people that came in and helped us clean up some of the area, helped us mulch quite a bit of the area. So if it goes down there, you'll see some fresh mulch down there. We still have to do the islands and clean that up. So Kathy, you're a go-getter. If you know of anybody that wants to help us volunteer, we could use some help with getting that mulch spread out on the islands to make that attractive, because right now, I'll be honest with you, it's an eyesore. But we haven't had the time to do it, and there's mulch there. We just need to find some help and get it done.
Now, you're saying on the islands?
Yeah, where the flowers and the trees are planted as you come.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm thinking like islands with water. Okay.
No, not the islands that you and your husband are used to.
But that leads me to another question. The wooded area in American Heroes Park, that trail.
Yes.
All right. Is that gone, or is that gonna be maintained, or are you gonna do away with that?
For now, it's gone. The main reason is because of expense and safety. After the floods, it caused havoc, and from a dollar amount, it's not economically sensible for us to go ahead and try to do anything with that, because I don't know where you stop and where you start. Starting and stopping would not be there. It just go on forever, and I would guess it'd be $500,000 just to do it. And so the city fathers have said, let's just shut it down. And that's why you see the signs there now. Can we stop people from going back there? No, but as you know, from a liability standpoint, we put the sign up, and then that helps us relieve our being liable for it. But right now, it's a beautiful area, but it's too expensive to clean up.
There are some islands back there. That's what
Yeah,
I
there are
was-
some islands. There's some, yeah, yes, you're right.
The flooding has created some islands back there, and that's what I was thinking of.
Right. So,
Jim, what's happening with pools? I don't want to throw you off course. Of
well,
what you've
no,
got lined up, but-
and looking at the time, we need to throw us off course. Well, at the swimming pools, so the exciting things are happening there is that on June 1st, we're going to open up. Now, the pools will, 3 of the 4 pools will open this summer. That'll be Cascio, Gilbert, and Dowding swimming pools. June 1 is our opening date. If people want to buy pool passes, they can call the recreation office at 293-3142, or you can go online and look at the forms to fill out and do it that way too. But we'll open the pools then. All of you know that there is a staffing shortage. So if you know people that want to be lifeguards or people that are certified as lifeguards, we'd love to meet with them and talk to them about job opportunities for them. That's something that would interest them, because we still need to hire a few more lifeguards.
I think Kristen Cox would be available.
Yeah, I would love.
I think I've let my my lifeguarding license expire.
Well, we know some people that allow you to get recertified if you want.
Yeah, I'll give that some thought.
Yeah.
Thanks.
About, what is that, about 1 or 2 seconds, if that what it'll be?
Yeah.
Well, you can always come and enjoy the amenities, though, if you want. We'd love to have you back. So,
Well, thank you.
but we have found, and I know Kevin's heard this, and I'm sure, I know Kathy has heard this, that the renovation at Jerry Gilbert Pool and Cascio Pool has drawn huge crowds that Kristen had never seen before at Cascio Pool. The last 2 years that we've been open now, we've had days that we've had to close the pools to new attendees because they were packed. There's a pool limit by state standards, and once we reached the 210 people at the pool, we had to stop taking attendance. Now, last year was a little bit different with the pandemic, and we had to scale it down some to 100, and we were still bringing the crowds. Now this year, we expect the same. We're going to be back to normal. Thank the good Lord that we'll be able to open up and like we have all the past and do regular things. We'll still do a little bit more detailed cleaning during our breaks, our break times. Every 15 minutes, I was supposed to have, or every after 45 minutes of swim time, 15 minutes of rest time, we'll be doing some cleaning, but not to the extent we did last year, but we'll do some deep cleaning to try to keep everybody safe and healthy. Thankfully, you've all heard that chlorine, some of those problems that we've all been experiencing this year, so we should be safe. But we're opening those on the 1st. We'll go through the 2nd week in August with our pools, and they expect good crowds, weather permitting. Swim lessons is a huge thing this year. Most of our classes, 3/4 of our swim lesson classes are full. Feel free to call our office to check to see what would be open. But I will tell you, unfortunately, right now, we don't have a lot open because of, one, we don't have the amenities or have the sites to be open. Normally, we use Cache or Dowding and Sun Valley. Well, this year, Sun Valley is not going to be open because of pool structure problems, and we're weighing the opportunities of what we do and shouldn't do there. And there'll either be renovation or be a permanently closed, and that decision hasn't been made yet. But the 3 out of the 4 pools will be open for the summer, starting June 1st. Another exciting event that I briefly mentioned was Music in the Parks. Last year we had, and I'm pretty sure it's because of the pandemic, we had record crowds for our Music in the Parks series at Washington Park on Thursday nights. That starts the first part of June, June 3rd, at 7 o'clock each Thursday, weather permitting. And we've had some good groups that come through the Omaha Music Performance Association. And it's been fun to see the crowds back up again. And I hope we have good crowds again this summer. So, and I don't need to bore everybody with the details, but as well, we're offering different activities throughout the summer, anywhere from tennis to baseball, softball, to playing free. Kevin, I know Kevin's son was quite active in tennis. We also offer a free play tennis day, thanks to USTA Tennis. And also Kathy knows somebody that knows how to play tennis as well. So we're offering a free play tennis day in July where anybody that wants to come can play. We're also going to have what we call the Bellevue Open this year. We haven't had that for a while, but we're going to have a Bellevue Open tennis tournament. The date hasn't been set yet, but that'll be something that will keep the costs cheap and try to get as many participants as possible and make it a fun time and give young and old an opportunity to play tennis in a tournament setting that a lot of people in this area don't do anymore, or don't do, period. And if they wanted to experience a tennis tournament, they can. So that'll be a fun thing to do. I don't want to bore you with any more details, but is there any other questions that people want to ask me? But before we do, I know Ralph said he had to go, but one of the things that if you're active and if you like biking, the Bellevue Loop of our trail system of the Keystone Trail, we're doing a partnership with the NRD this summer in repairing some of the concrete on the Bellevue Loop that, to the extent it'll be around $100,000. But we're going to try to get that back up to more where the standards for the trail that we want it to be. So at a particular time in the summer, and that hasn't been determined yet, but I'm guessing probably late summer, we'll have some repairs going on there that'll close the Bellevue Loop from Highway 370 to Capehart Road. And it'll probably be closed, probably for a month, I'm guessing. But we'll be renovating that area, so it'll be a smoother ride for everybody in that area. But if you like,
what's the timeline from Capehart Road back around to Hayworth Park?
That's a question that I can't answer.
Okay.
I'm sorry. That's a project that NRD is doing, and I could find out for you, Kevin, pretty easy, but I don't know.
Okay.
I know it's a popular question because a lot of people have asked us that, and we just have referred them to the Papio Natural Resource District. Maybe Fred knows. Fred, you're the Sarpy.
I haven't heard, but I'm just thinking John Winkler might be a great coffee candidate coming up, because I know they have a lot of things coming on that.
Yeah,
I was just thinking, Jim, you're right. I need to probably beat them up a little bit so we can get more schedules, as we're getting calls out here with
yeah.
Jim, Bill O'Donnell, your question. I want to go back to the swimming pools.
Sure.
Just to put things in perspective for folks, if you were looking at adding a new swimming pool and you had the land available, what kind of dollars would you be looking at to cover the construction and the first couple of years of operating expenses?
Well, you were really putting me on the spot here, Bill. Right, I'm gonna tell you my pipe dream for a swimming pool. And and it's not just mine. I know there's talk in the city about it, and I'm sure Kevin has been involved with it. We need a destination aquatics park. And so when I'm talking about an aquatics park, I'm talking about zero depth water slides, maybe a lazy river, a picnic area, all of that wrapped into one. Plus a deep swimming well where you could have a diving board that people can actually dive into the water. You know, we don't have the diving facilities now, especially now that we've lost, we're not opening Sun Valley Pool or Aspen Park Pool. That was the only remaining park that had a diving board. So dollar amount would be it's anywhere from 12 to 16 million. But I would guarantee you, similar to what I'm seeing, but at least the excitement of what I'm seeing at Stonecraft Park with all-inclusive playground, that would excite a lot of the community and a lot of the communities around us. So, you know, it's going to take some good planning and a lot of people involved. But and at one time, I know Kathy was involved with a study on it. It's a thing that Kevin and his doctor, or not doctor, Jim Ristow and the Mayor Hike would be fruitful for them if they visit and try, when we start laying out the plans for that, because it's needed. It's something we don't have, and it would attract a lot of people.
Jim, you said 16 million, and I noticed that Chris Fassbender was no longer on with us. So
Jim, at one time in regard to that kind of water park, they were looking at the land on where the veterans home is that the city owns. Is that still a possibility, using that land? Or I don't know if, you know, if it's been sold or what's going on since I've left the council.
And I'm not privy to that information, so I can't tell you that either. So I'm sorry, I don't know. And that'd be one of the things we'd have to discuss, because you would need a considerable size area to put something like that in. But it'd be well invested money, I think. Now, does that mean we would keep the other pools, the other pools open? Unfortunately, I would say no. I would think Dowding would have to go, and you would keep the other two open, because there's nothing wrong with those two, and they draw crowds. So, but as you know, that's not something I will decide. You being in that position before, that's something above me. So, and that's okay. I'm fine with that. So.
Other questions for Jim? Gosh, Jim, you have had so much to share. This has been fantastic, and we still have plenty of time for questions. But gosh, I've taken a ton of notes here.
I would just add one comment regarding Stonecraft. I live about 2 minutes from driving by Stonecraft, and I drive by there every day, and it's really cool how you kind of look down on it. And you had mentioned the color scheme. It's a very attractive playground, and it just automatically draws you in. So the location, this kind of the scheme and the layout of the park, I'm really happy that that's in my neighborhood, because I agree with you 100%. People are going to see that and they're going to come to it. And and use it even more than when it has been using. So well done to all the people that planned that out.
No, thank you. Just another side note to that. We will be changing redoing the parking lot starting next fall. We didn't have the money budgeted for that this year to do that as well, but we're putting well, hopefully the finance office will allow us to put that in our budget for next year, and I'm pretty sure it will happen. But so you'll see the parking lot renovated next fall.
Well, and the tennis courts there at Stonecraft are so consistently used. I mean, that's just another draw and another opportunity there.
Right. And us lighting them made a big difference.
Yeah.
Being able to light them.
Yeah.
So that helps.
I've got a question for you, Jim. So you mentioned a lot of really cool things coming down the pipeline. Where can people go to kind of just get updates on some of the things that you mentioned with the pools and the parks? And are you guys posting those on your website, or is there a place that people can keep going back to check for some of those updates?
Generally, the best place to check for updates is our city website, bellevue.net. You could also call the park or recreation offices for updates. We also put some updates on our Bellevue Recreation Facebook page as well. So those are some of the areas that you communicate with to find out what's going on.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Carrie Pillen, and we were directed to that website to look at the trails, and there's no like legend or key for the map. So, you know, it's hard to tell what's a green line, what's a dashed line, what do they mean? What can we do to understand that better?
Well, we'll have to visit Kevin and I's friend, Phil Davidson, to see if we can do a better job by having him put that information on there. I'm sorry, Carrie, about that, but we'll work on that. Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
And I think I've looked at that at a different site and kind of had the same thought of, oh, well, I don't know quite what that means. I think that might be not a Bellevue issue, but a trail
MLD
system issue. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll have to work. That's a good thought, though, because it is used, and we need to do a better job of letting people know what it is and how to access it too.
Jim, are there any plans for any more pickleball courts?
Yes.
Okay.
Give me your thoughts sometime. Give me a call, will you, please?
Will do. Sure. Happy to do that. I know there are some currently at Thompson Park. Are there any other existing ones I don't know about?
Well, I know you're familiar with Sorensen Park.
Yes.
Drive up there.
Okay.
We just renovated those tennis courts now 2 summers ago. Well, actually, first of last summer.
Okay.
You'll be shocked.
All right, will do.
But in answer, though, that's kind of a Band-Aid to the problem. We need to have pickleball courts only.
Oh, yeah, rather, right now they're
The combination.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorensen, Jim, that's the one where the fire training facility is, right?
No, Sorensen is north of South Roads, 10th and Sydney Street.
Oh, okay.
We used to have a swimming pool there, and
Yeah, I remember that. Years
we
ago.
buried it. Yeah, we buried it.
Literally,
Yeah.
literally.
Kathy was involved with the burying.
Well, we've got just a couple more minutes. Again, Jim, incredible information you've had to share this morning. What other questions or comments?
Jim, I just have a real quick question. You said Music in the Park starts on June 3rd. And,
Yes.
And then it runs every Thursday through what?
July 29th. Yes.
July 29th. Okay.
Yes. If you can help advertise us for that, I appreciate that.
Yep. We'll put it on our calendar.
Thanks, Alex.
Are there, do like food trucks show up for that or anything? Is there a?
Well, there haven't been in the past, and maybe, I don't know if Bill's still online with us, but I think his group at one time had a little interest in providing, I think, hot dogs at one time, which I don't know how it came out, but it wouldn't be a bad thought. That's for sure. And sometime you're the guru on public information, Kevin. You know, we don't have a public information officer for recreation. Yes, we do for the whole city, but at times we could use something for Parks and Rec, just like we're talking about this trail legend, to try to get all this stuff information out to the general public to let them know. So, and music in the parks would be I think I know what you're thinking about. How fun would that be to have something around the whole area of food trucks, advertising, similar to what they did with the PTA.
Hey, Jim, I've got a question. I actually have some references. Can they call you directly for the food truck thing?
Sure.
Who would they need to call? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have some people get in touch with you.
All right. Thank you. Thanks again for your sponsorship too.
Oh, of course. I love, you know me, I told you, tie-dyeing at the Reed Center when I was a kid.
There you go.
I love it. Here's what I love, just the specific information has been phenomenal, Jim, but I'm loving the ways that you have shared how just citizens can be involved, right? Organizations can be involved in helping to support Parks and Recs through sponsorships, through volunteer opportunities, whether as individuals or with groups, other groups that we're connected to. And just the conversation we've had about these different amenities in different parts of the city of getting our community connected as a whole community. It's just fantastic.
Yeah. We got to make it work, and together we can do it, but one person can't do it by themselves. And as you know, and we're not, and you're helping develop that team. And I appreciate all of your support that you do personally, Kevin, and then the chamber does as well. So
absolutely. Rusty, I saw you on mute.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Good. I moved my computer and I put it all back together myself, and I just had trouble here getting it all working. Hey, I want to give Jim a lot of credit. He has a big job. There's a lot of parks in the city, and he keeps them looking fabulous. So maybe if everybody could unmute their microphone for 1 second and give him a round of applause, because he really deserves it. He doesn't get a lot of recognition.
Yeah.
Woo!
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to share with the group that when I called Jim and said, hey, would you be interested in being a Coffee with Kevin guest? There's so much going on with Parks and Rec. And after the funky year we had last year, and he said, oh, I've got so much going on. And I said, you've got so much going on that people need to know about. So Jim, I thank you for taking the time this morning. You drew one of the biggest crowds we've had in a long time for Coffee with Kevin.
Wow.
And this has
Thank you.
This has been so worthwhile. So thank you for everything that you're doing. Thanks, Rusty, for the city's commitment in so many of these projects. And
Yes.
continuing to grow and expand the opportunities for our families.
Well, thank you.
Awesome.
Jim, I think what a positive is just being around government for a long time, that when you were throwing figures in some of these activities, the mayor didn't fall out of his chair or anything. So either Rusty's got his poker face on today, or I think good things are going to continue to happen in Bellevue.
I always have my poker face on. Just a couple updates. LB 9 was signed. So that's the bill that gives us the ability to jump over the base and annex like it's not even there. So that's huge for Bellevue. So the governor did sign that yesterday, I believe. And that takes effect immediately. It had an emergency clause in it. So, and Carol Blood was instrumental in getting that up and approved. So kudos to her. We have about $150 million in projects that we're looking at just east of Kennedy Freeway. So We obviously have new construction stuff going on west of Kennedy, but there are about $150 million in projects that we're hoping to make some announcements on, sometime this year. So there's a lot of stuff in the hopper, so that's looking good. Dandelions, we did put pre-emergence down for dandelions. Something didn't work, but I think the whole city's got the problem. I think they're super dandelions or something. So I don't know what's going on there, but we're trying to get rid of those. Yeah, any questions? I know you're running over time. Be glad to answer. Always feel free to call me.
Fantastic. Thanks, Rusty. Thanks for the updates. Again, Jim, can't thank you enough for your time and the incredible information that you've shared this morning. And thanks to everybody for taking time to learn more about the community. This has been the goal of Coffee with Kevin, is for us to just learn what's going on and then go out to our networks and share, and talk about everything that we can be proud of in this community. And for everyone who participates in making that happen. So next Friday, Coffee with Kevin guest is Ben Justman, who's the director of the Sarpy County Museum. There's a whole lot going on there that people really aren't aware of either. So looking forward to hoping that you can tune in again next Friday. Everybody have a fantastic day. It's going to be beautiful today. Happy Mother's Day to those that it's applicable. And hopefully we will see you next Friday, same time, same place. Take care, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Bye.
Thanks so much, Jim.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.